What is up guys, so I'm here today with my review of the Cosmic Eclipse. Of course, I'm not gonna go card by card, but thanks to Native Ryan and a few other friends of mine, we've constructed a list of like the essential cards, the really good cards are not filler-ins, that are not bulk, but are really good and worth checking out. So without further ado, I'm gonna go to this screen over here, and you will see the whole file. Of course, I'm gonna be using pokebeach.com, so you can check out the full list of 270 cards there, and we're gonna just focus on the main one. So for example, if there is let's say we've got a Vileplume GX that we're going to talk about. I'm not really going to get into talking about the Gloom and Oddish because they are not important that much. Like, they are stepping stones to get to the Vileplume, right? So they are not that important in this sense. All right, I hope you're going to enjoy this, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like that, for more reviews. There is going to be my guide tomorrow, and let's just jump right into it because I want to do it for a long time, and finally I have the time to sit down to it. So let's just go. Bam! So yeah, we got a lot of text, but don't worry, I'm going to be zooming in all the cards, right? We're going to be zooming in all the cards like that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go take a look at my list. First, I'm going to have to do it a little bit here. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so as I said, I have a nice list of cards, and the first the card that we're going to start off is of course Venusaur and Snivy. Why do we start with Venusaur and Snivy? Well, it's first on our list, but also it's a really important card. So there we go, that's how the art looks like, gorgeous. And we've got ability called Shining Vine. Of course, he has 270 HP, so quite good in terms of that. Shining Vine, if this Pokemon is your active, whenever you attach a grass type energy from your hand to this Pokemon during your turn, you may choose one of your opponent's benched Pokemon and switch it with their active Pokemon. So kind of like Volcanion, but you actually can choose what you're doing and you're not discarding the energy. Of course, you got Forest Dump. Forest Dump. It's 160 damage for grass type and 4 colorless, which is, I think, a little bit too much. Like, there's a lot to do to get for colorless, 3 colorless there, and for only 160 damage. Plus we got 3 colorless Solar Blast GX. This attack does 50 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, but if this Pokemon has at least 2 additional energies attached to it, well, heal all damage from each of your Pokemon, which is really cool, and then definitely a nice healing. Of course, with all the heal that we have, with all different herbs, not herbs, everything, this might be really good Pokemon. This might be really good attacker, and with Weakness Guard policy, he is not going to be weak to the fire type cards, right? Next on the list, we've got a Vileplume GX. So let's go over here. Let's scroll. There we go. That is the card. It looks gorgeous. We got Erika in the background, and let's take a look at the card. It had 240 HP. I'm just gonna scroll it like here. 240 HP. Ability Fragrant Flower Garden over here, and once during your turn before you attack, you may heal 30 damage from each of your Pokemon. Again, you kind of see a theme, right? We've got a lot of healing for the grass type right here, a lot of different techniques, and again, this can be on your bench, and it doesn't say that this ability doesn't stack. So you may have 2 Vileplumes, so you heal 60. You have the Life Forest, you have the herbs, everything. A lot of healing. Big Bloom, 1 grass, 1 colorless, and 180 minus. This attack does 10 less damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, so you want him to be healed. And we also got the GX Allergy Bomb, 50 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, burned, and paralyzed at the same time. Quite a interesting GX, definitely not something for me, but a situational GX when the game is super close and you need that paralysis, yeah, I can see this happening. So definitely really good 2 cards right away, and I feel like this is going to be a theme of that set, that the GXs are really good, and we can build a lot of decks around them, which is really cool. Let's go now. I'm going to go through Tangrowth. We don't really need those, we don't really care about those regrettably. But what took brought to my attention is something that combos perfectly with Clefairy. I look at my notes here because that's a note for native Ryan. Comes with Clefairy, and that is the elk, you might say, Sauce Buck. You saw me opening this particular Japanese version as Kovac was opening the Japanese stuff. So Season Blessing. Once on your turn, you may draw one card. Quite cool ability with the bounce attack, 60 damage. You may switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. Definitely nice come with Clefairy. We're gonna go down to Clefairy, so we'll see why exactly. But drawing it's kind of it's similar to Sand Slash from the theme decks. Definitely a lot of people will treat him as a nice drawing power. I think it is, and let's move on. Next one is going to be a Buzzwole that caught our eye. The Buzzwole from, of course, the pre-release promos, and of course for this Pokemon attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon for each price you have taken before applying weakness and resistance. So that's before you apply weakness and resistance, so you can actually do a lot of damage in the late game, but also you're healing this Pokemon. So with whole heal, with this whole theme of grass type, just being able to heal a lot, it works. It's a really good Pokemon, and definitely a pre-release Pokemon that can disrupt your opponent a lot. And then we go to Fire-type Pokemons, and let me tell you, there's no other polarizing card, no other interesting card for many than this tag team, right? We got the Charizard and Braixen tag team. Like for me, I think it's Reshiram, but let's take a look at the Braixen and Charizard GX. Of course, it was played with Reshazad and it was played with Reshiram in Japanese standard format a lot. Let's take a look. So we got 3 Fire-type energies plus colorless Shiny Flare, 180 damage. You may search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. So that is Steven's Resolve with 180 damage being applied. Really good attack, honestly, for just searching the exact cards you need mid game, early game, late game. That is a perfect card, especially with Welder being a thing, right? So turn 2 you can actually use that attack and get every single turn the cards you need, the counters you need for the next turn. So at some point your opponent will not have any more reset stamps. You're good to go with the GX. 1 Fire plus Crimson Flare Pillar. Attach 5 basic energy cards from discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So if you go second, you can use this turn 1 if you discard a lot of energy during your first turn, which can happen. You might be able to do it. You have a huge energy advantage, plus you can still play Welder before that. That is ridiculous. And of course it says 5 basic, it doesn't say Fire type. That's why this card was found its place in many Reshiram decks in Japan, and I can see this card being in many decks. Probably it will see its place in Mew 3 and many different ones. Super cool deck. But let's take a look. If this Pokemon has at least 1 extra energy attached to it, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned and confused again. Super cool. You can use it already turn 1 after playing Welder on it. Oh boy, that is definitely the attack you want to use early game, or even in a late game, right? Late game when they're gonna get rid of your energy. If you're playing not Magmar, but if you're playing Macargo GX, right? That's a really nice GX attack for this. Then we got a Flareon, Fire type evolution of Eevee, 110 HP, ability with Power Cheer. There we go. Gorgeous looking, by the way. Gorgeous looking art. I mean, I love that art. It's fantastic. I love the city in the background. I mean, I love those art that pop out, and this is one of those really good art. I can honestly, I can see this art being like a huge wallpaper somewhere, really gorgeous. My goodness, what a fantastic art. But let's talk about the card itself. Power Cheer. This attack, the attack of your Pokemon GX that evolve from Eevee, do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. You can't apply more than one power tree ability at a time, so definitely it enables a lot of EV strategies. You can have a Jolting that attacks for more, addition to electro powers, you have many other things that you can do, and because it's a fire type, you can always have a fire type engine for the flamethrower attack, which is 90 damage, but that's not we have him, right? We have him for this additional damage. Then we have, on my list, we got Entei. There he is, a rally back. Again, Entei from the pre-release, you can have him on the pre-release, 130 HP, rally back. One fire type, one colorless, it's 30 plus damage. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, it does 90 more damage. This is literally Umbreon, baby Umbreon from previous sets. Really nice attack, and definitely we will find a place for him in baby decks that are revolving around, your Pokemon is being knocked out. With the Fire Main, 100 damage, we don't care that much about that attack, but really nice, attacks of Umbreon, Espion, sorry, yeah, Umbreon, I said that right, Umbreon baby on our Entei. Next on my list, I've got Emperor, there he is, that's the guy. I mean, he looks like a Tekken character. I mean, I'm okay with that, but let's take a look at the ability. It's a stage 2 Pokemon with the Steam Dance ability with 170 HP on it, and the ability says when you play the Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may look at the top 8 cards of your deck and attach any basic energy you find there. Yes, does Fire type need that much attachment? No. I mean, literally, this is just too much. You have welders, you have so much stuff, and then you add this. But for decks that, for example, we've got the Snivy, right? If you get quite fast to this Emperor, and you're gonna have this energy, this in top 8 cards, you can actually use that engine. Not only on fire type decks, but in any deck you like. So definitely I will try to do this engine. I know it can be interesting. Hopefully it's going to be interesting, and how it's going to develop, we'll see. But definitely that's one of the cards to look at in terms of engines, right? In terms of baby type deck engines. Previously we got, but with attack, we've got Butterfree. This time we've got Emperor. Now, the card that I definitely want to build a deck around, Volcarona GX with Scorching Bomb, of course 110 HP, that's the Volcarona GX, and ability says once during your turn you may discard a fire type energy from your hand. If you do, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Definitely a nice ability. You can combo it with many different Pokemons. You can start dealing that damage to your opponent. You can have it on your bench to just start sniping, start doing this nice spread damage. Of course, you got a Backfire, return 2 fire type energies from this Pokemon to your hand, but we got a Welder, so it's quite okay. With the GX called Great Heatwave GX, discard an energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. How amazing is that? Discard an energy, so you discard 1, but from each, which can be really devastating if it's done correctly. If it's done in the right time, that can be a game changer. Then let's go down there below, and we've got a Blastoise and Piplup GX. Rema, that's a nod to you. Yes, it is. Blastoise, looking gorgeous, looking fantastic, with double water and a colorless Splash Maker, 150 damage. You may attach up to 3 water type energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Again, we got another engine, right? We've got another type of attachment, which is quite cool. Definitely not a supported type of attachment, definitely not as fast as as Welder, but still we've got finally some attachment that is bind with attack, not with abilities of other Pokemon, and you still heal 50 damage from each of those Pokemon for each energy you attach to them. So again, not only we're attaching, but we're also healing. So this might mean that water type decks are finally going to come back to the meta. Then again, we've got a GX called Bubble Launcher. We've got 2 water type, 1 colorless, and it's 100 plus damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Okay, I mean, cool. If this Pokemon has at least 3 additional Water-type energies, this attack does 150 more damage. So it does 250 damage, which is good and bad. I mean, definitely it knocks out a lot of Pokemons. But I wish it would have like this 270, right? Maybe 300 damage to knock out everything. Because 250, you might miss like 20 damage here and there. But you can also play Volcarona and add that 20 damage. Then we have what we have next, because I'm looking at my list. We've got a Vaporeon next, and there he is, the gorgeous Vaporeon. Again, I would love to see a full art of that. Honestly, they stepped up with the evolutions in this set. They just perfect evolutions. Vital Air, as long as this Pokemon is in play, the maximum HP of each of your Pokemon GX that evolved from Eevee is increased by 60. So again, Jolteon GX not only attacking for 30 more but also has 60 more HP. We might see an Eevee Dex. We might see Evolution Dex, and honestly I would love to see that. I don't know if, of course, you know, the Eevee with Energy Evolution is not present, but what an idea. You can have, you know, all those different evolutions. They are not only, you know, good attackers on their own, but also they support the big guys. Definitely loving that. And I'm gonna try to build, you know, maybe electric type, maybe some other type of that deck. Then we have Sneasel, we've got a Weevil, of course, a water type Weevil. Next on my list is Valorane. Where is Valorane? We got Snorunt, Glalie, Spheal, of course, Celio, Valorane. There he is, our fantastic Valorane. Really cool looking Pokemon, but why it's on my list? Well, it evolves from Celio and has 160 HP with 1 water type energy. It's late. 60 damage. Your opponent can't play any trainers from their hand during their next turn. So this is literally a trainer lock, right? This is a trainer lock. I think it might combo quite interestingly with a few decks. The retreat cost is a little bit of a bummer, but you know, does it mean that trainer lock is gonna be real? Yes, definitely trainer lock is gonna happen with this card. I can't wait to play it. Definitely nice card for anyone who likes this strategy. Then we have Empoleon that comes with prior evolution line. We've got a choose attack from this Pokemon previous evolutions to use this as an attack. Definitely we have many previous evolutions of Empoleon that we can use, and we've got, for example, with Prinplup, 3 water type, right? Attack called Direct Drive. Discard all energy from this Pokemon and do 100 damage to one of your opponent benched Pokemon. Quite a nice snipe. You know, we've got Bubble Hold from the Piplup. Many good attacks. Definitely interesting card. You know, using that older versions. Really cool. Can't wait to play it. We got Phione, and I've talked about Phione in my review of the 4 promo cards. I don't know if I would sacrifice the bench space for the Phione for, you know, that Guzma effect, but I know definitely a lot of people will like it. Maybe people will play it in some water type decks, so why not? We can say Phione might be playable. Would I go crazy about it? Not really. We got Wishy-Washy GX. Oh, we're going back, right? We're going back to the good old days with Wishy-Washy GX with 130 HP and Schooling Storm attack. It's 20 times damage. This deck does 20 damage for each of your Wishy-Washy and Wishy-Washy GX in play. Of course, other Wishy-Washys help boost him, right? Because Wishy-Washy GX is still real. With the colorless Big Cat GX, look at the top 12 cards of your deck, put a number of basic Pokemon you find there onto your bench. So, are Wishy-Washy decks coming back? Definitely, but I feel like this is going to be a nice expanded card with a Skyfield to be played. Let's move on, shall we? We've got Raichu next on my fantastic list. That is the Raichu, and again, similar city to Flareon. It's similar city to Flareon in the background with a nozzle flip. Right, with a nozzle, sorry, we've got a nozzle Raichu. We've got a Flip-A-Con if has your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. With Powerful Spark, 20 damage, this attack does 20 damage times the amount of lightning energy attached to your Pokemon, and this is similar to Raichu GX that we had. So is Nozzle deck coming back? Yes, it does, because we also have a Nozzle Pikachu, so we're gonna have Nozzle decks coming back to the format. Really like it. I was really sad when the Raichu GX was rotated out. Here we're gonna have Nozzle decks back because of Raichu. Really cool. I love that. Next is Jolteon. Jolteon, of course, gorgeous looking. Another fantastic, gorgeous looking evolution. But let's look at the ability, because abilities do matter right here, and each of your Pokemon GX pays 1 colorless less to use its attack. You can't apply more than 1 Speedy Yell ability at a time. Again, really cool for the GX, and I just can't wait to use it, right? I can't really wait to have like all those evolutions on the bench, the baby ones, and have those nice GX just attacking. Of course, it has to be done right. It has to, you know, have this nice flow. I don't know if it's going to be a tier 1, but definitely a box deck around this might be quite interesting, right? Then another god, we got Lantern. Who'd have thought, right? Lantern with flickering a light. As often as you like during your turn, you may look at the top card of your opponent's deck, then return it to the top of their deck. So you kind of exactly know what your opponent is drawing per turn. Quite nice ability. Definitely might find its way in control decks, right? Not only Chip X, who might be banned, might be not, but knowing what your opponent has at the top at all times is a huge knowledge. Knowledge is key to many games, right? To winning many games, of course. Wow, this list goes on and on and on. Then we got, you know, Solgaleo and Lunala GX. And I've talked about this GX quite a bit. And oh, I have a note here, combos with Apom. That's with what also Lantern combos. Have Solgaleo, Lunala. I think there's no need to actually tell you about this GX, especially now that it's quite simple. We've got 230 attack, but also we've got the Light of the Goddess with 200 damage. But if you played Lily's Best Effort from your hand during this turn, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to each of your Pokemon, which is really cool GX attack because it includes all of them. So it might destroy the flow of your opponent, right? It might destroy their game plan for a second. Quite cool attack. I can't wait to use it. Let's take a look what else we got. We got Coughing Wheezing, of course, line, and I've talked about this line a lot, right? That if we discard him with Roxy, we're putting some damage counters, of course, on our on each of your opponent's Pokemon, which is quite cool. You know, that is definitely a discard effect, and it really goes with the spread damage. Wheezing, it definitely goes with anything that deals damage to the bench of our opponent. So really cool. Good for coughing. Then we have Xatu with Ominous when your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused, which goes with Parasect decks, but also we've got a Life Drain. If heads, put damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon until its remaining HP is 10. And imagine this, you have Xatu, the attack works, you finish it off next turn with discarding Wheezing or with, you know, any spread attack. Quite cool attack, and because we will be able to manipulate the coin flips in this set, you will kind of guarantee yourself the perfect flips each time. Then we have Gallade. I have a quite cool note about Gallade. You know, like literally just telling me what I should say. And let's look at the Gallade first. It's a double type. As long as this Pokemon is in play, it's type both Fairy and a Psychic type. And of course, you know, this affects weakness and resistance. We have to, you know, keep that in mind. But also, you know, we go around certain, you know, certain weaknesses and resistance. For example, this will hit, you know, quite hard those dragon type Pokemon that have weakness towards fighting type, fighting fairy type, right? Which is quite cool. I said fairy. It's fighting type. Sorry, fighting type. So a card against Pikarom, a card against electric type decks. My bad, my mistake. Of course, really cool. And if you don't know the card, you don't know how to play around it, well, you have to learn on the fly with the power cycling for 2 colorless only, so definitely the card can be played as a tech card anywhere. 120 damage with an energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. Then we have a whole Dusknoir or Dusknoir line with Soul Evolution. Of course, quite cool. We are 24 minutes in. Wow. Once on your turn, you may discard 3 cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon, and you literally just evolve into Dusclops with disable. 20 damage is one of your opponent's attack and disable it. How amazing is that if we can disable our opponent's attack? And then we evolve into Dusknoir with the Fainting Stamp. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and it's knocked out, put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. Of course, you can add Spell Tag, definitely more spread damage into the whole idea of Psychic type. So Psychic type this season is going to be all about spread damage, which I do love. Plus 60 damage during your next turn. This Pokemon Psychic attack does 60 more damage. Quite cool. Then I have to go down and have to look at the Trevenant. There he is, the gorgeous looking Trevenant. With the Deceiving Forest, you may have your opponent switch their active Pokemon with one of their benched Pokemon, which definitely destroys many great ideas that your opponent can have. With the Shadow Impact, 120 damage, and put 4 damage counter on one of your Pokemon. So this is similar to Giratina, baby, right? Similar attack. But the first one really good. Then we got Oricorio GX, 170 HP, ability of Dedicated Dance. So we're not doing Salsa this time, but we're still in the dance realm. With once during your turn, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may draw 3 cards. And well, that is quite cool. After something gets knocked out, you still draw, especially for Giratina Malamar decks that you're drawing this additional stuff. Quite cool. And again, attacks are not really that important on this card because you do play it for that ability, because attack is 80 damage. It's not really that good. Then we have Mimikyu, right? We got actually 2 Mimikyus, and we've got the first one with Impersonate. Discard a supporter card from your hand, then use the effect of the supporter as an effect of this attack. So you can kind of play to support this pattern thanks to this. But also the Mimikyu with the ability, as long as Pokemon is in play, each player GX with damage counters has no ability. So if you're playing a spread deck, right, and you have on the bench, because it says in play, this Mimikyu, you destroy abilities of your opponent's GXs, so it's better than Power Plant in many ways if you play a spread deck, because well, they can get rid of the Power Plant, but getting rid of the damage is a lot harder, right, if they rely heavily on abilities. Let's scroll down a little bit, because I've got Marshadow. I think I've talked about this Marshadow a little bit earlier, and Shadow Mimic, which is one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attack, excluding a GX attack, and used it as this attack. So you can use Flash Strike, for example, and just BAM hit it, because it has to be active Pokemon, of course, if they have an active. Rashizat, for example, really good. And I think baby decks and spread decks are gonna be super strong. Psychic type decks super strong in this format. Again, with the Blazefalon, right? We got a Blazefalon over here. Really good card with for the pre-release, right? 120 damage if your opponent has exactly 3 prize cards. And again, you're putting that damage everywhere. So another spread, another put. So my goodness, I mean, Psychic is going to be literally all about spread damage. It's insane. I love that. But it's like, enough is enough sometimes, right? Like, enough is enough. So let's go even further. We got a Flygon GX over here in the set. There we go. Looks kind of, you know, like a Flygon. Nice goggles, dude. Ability with Sandstorm Protection. As long as this Pokemon is your active, any damage done to your Pokemon from opponent's attack is reduced by 30. Quite cool. With the Desert Hurricane, 120 plus damage. If there's any stadium card in play, any stadium, it does 120 more, plus it discards that stadium card. So if there is, let's say, Power Plant in play and you don't like it, bam, it's gone. If there is this counter stadium, Wormhole, hole, we're gonna get to that, bam, discarded, right? Sonic Edge GX 120 damage, it's not affected by anything. Alright, but the attack does a Hurricane really good. Then we have a Groudon. I talked to Groudon that it's going to be in the theme decks. We've talked about the Groudon and Kyogre in like separate videos. They're in theme decks. Nothing more to say. They are cards. Like literally, they are there. And some people may play them, you know, because you choose up to fighting type, and then for Kyogre to water type cards from your hand, and you attach them to one of your Pokemon. Definitely, you know, an acceleration for those types. But is it going to be played? I don't think so. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and you know, the acceleration is going to be really good. Then what was next? We got Excadrill, Seismitoad, another ability Pokemon, another Pokemon with ability with Smooth Over. You forgot it. What is Smooth Over? Well, it was from Macargo, and now it is on Seismitoad. So you literally just browse through your deck, take one card and put it on top of your deck. That's why you use this card. So it's just Macargo, but on a fighting type, in a fighting type deck. Then next we're going to Dark type, actually, because there's not really anything in fighting, maybe besides this Lycanroc. Because this Lycanroc not only looks really good, but I know it was heavily used in few Japanese decks for Boiling Blood. If your opponent has any Pokemon GX in play, he attacks for free. But do I see this card in standard format? Well, I can see a deck around it, but is it going to be a tier 1? Definitely not. But who knows, we might try to build one. But definitely another card to look at, right? Persian GX. Smugface ability, prevent all effects done by tag team Pokemons, Ultra Beasts, and Pokemons with special energy. Really cool card for the Dark Box decks, for the Dark type decks, and definitely a tech card for those decks to prevent your opponent from playing those GXs. One thing that I have against this card is that it does block normal GXs, only tag teams, so there's still plenty of GXs that are gonna go through him, but still, nevertheless, a really good card, a really good ability. Highly recommending the card for any dark type deck. Let's go to Guzzlord, right? Let's go to our Lord and Savior Guzzlord. There he is. We've got a Guzzlord with the Mountain Munch, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Quite cool, but the Red Viking attack, 120 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out, you take one more prize card. So definitely a nice finisher if you need it. Definitely a nice attacker for the dark type decks that, well, they were kind of in need of something like that, this additional draw of the prize card from the baby attacker, not from Tyranitar and Mega Sableye, because that was also doing this. Where I'm on my list, with Fairy Trio GX. Okay, so talked about already. Okay, so you see I have all my notes I talked about already. Okay, Togepi and Cleffa, so yeah, I've talked about it as it was revealed. Really cool card, definitely an interesting card. One of those decks to also look at. Is it gonna be a tier 1? Well, I mean, I have mixed feelings. I think the cost is a little bit too big, and it might splash in Guardian decks, but that's all I can say about this card. You can look at it, but it's okay. Then we got a Clefairy, because I have in my notes Clefairy, and we got a Stall archetype. Let's take a look. We got a Dual Transformation, 60 damage. Return this Pokemon and all cards, attach it into your hand. Then you may play a Lily's Clefairy doll from your hand as your active Pokemon. So it is a nice stall idea. We got, of course, Lily's Clefairy doll. We're gonna go down to discard because that's an item. It has a stall potential, and it's kind of similar to, you know, what you do in VGC when you put a doll instead of your own Pokemon, you know, so your opponent has to go through that doll, then you play it. Really, really good. I can't wait to test that card. Definitely another card that is not GX, that is not like, you know, obvious card to look at, but definitely a good card, and probably it's going to be really cheap at first. Next is Whimsicott. We've got a Whimsicott as a next card. Looking fantastic, looking gorgeous, looking good. And with Gasp Pocket, choose a card from your hand and put it in a Lost Zone, then draw 3 cards. Definitely know a Lost Zone ideas. Everything that goes with the Lost Zone is gonna be with the Whimsicott. With the Lost March, because of course that is a brand new Lost March card with 20 times damage, of course, you know, for each card in the Lost Zone. So again, is Lost March coming back? I still don't think so, but definitely it receives additional Pokemon here for the Lost Zone ideas. Florges, that's another Pokemon that we have here with the ability, which is Flower Picking, another stage 2, right? A lot of stage 2s. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you might choose 2 cards in your opponent's hand. Your opponents reveal those cards and shuffles them back into their deck. Really cool ability. I mean, I can see this ability being a thing with the attack of Petal Dance, which is 60 times damage when you flip 3 coins. And of course, Florges is confused. Now we go to a God Trio. A God Trio. We got Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia. I talked about that trio a few times. I do think there is a possible deck around it. There are many ideas, especially when you're searching for 3 basic energies. You attach them to any Pokemon in any way you like, with the Water and Metal type energies being over here, but Altered Creation GX, right? For the rest of the game, your Pokemon attack does 30 more damage, and that's for 1 Metal type energy. That's really cool. You can use that GX, put a scoop up, and you're really, really good here. But let's take a look. If you have at least 1 extra Water type energy attached to it, your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out. And if it's knocked out, wait. When your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from those attack, you take 1 more prize card. Okay, so for the rest of the game, you take more prize cards for knocking out your opponent's Pokemon. So you just do this GX, scoop up back to your hand, and use other primary attackers, such as our next card, Reshiram. I know you can have a love-hate relationship. Like, this is the card I'm waiting for the most. I have 5 decks, 5 variants of, like, actually 4 variants of this deck prepared, and we're gonna go and do all those variants. I don't think this card needs any introduction. We all know what this card is doing, and it does a lot of damage, which is the most important, with, you know, a lot of damage to the bench with the GX attack, which is 170, and if you play it End Resolve, it's 170 to 2, which is Zekrom's and Pikachu's tag team GX, like doubled, which is quite cool. Now let's go to another GX, which I talked about already, because again, I talked about those as they were announced. So I'm not going to talk about it that much. You know, ability for Gluttony, once on your turn, you discard Pokemon, you heal 60 damage. Definitely works well with the whole discard idea. Plus the Chaos Order, you flip over your prize cards if this Pokemon has at least 1 extra Psychic type and 1 extra Dragon. Okay, Dragon type energy attached to it, like that's what it says. No. Dark type, Jesus, Dark. Raven, you're so dumb today. Dark type energy, you take 2 prize cards, which is quite cool, right? You know, you're taking those prize cards, and you might actually, you know, use it as a win con. You go down to 2 prize cards, you play him from your hand, you build it up, use the GX, win the game. Drampa, Dragon Fan, 70 plus damage. If this Pokemon has at least 2 different types of basic energy, it deals 70 more, which is 140, quite cool, and definitely might see a play in few baby type decks. Let's go to Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff GX. Oh, that is a cookie. That we talked about it, and well, wait. I missed like Ultra. Oh yeah, I missed Ultra Necrozma. Sorry, I missed Ultra Necrozma for the potential for expanded. Actually, not only Ultra Burst. This Pokemon can only attack if your front has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining, but Distraction, Shine, discard and energy from opponent's active Pokemon with 170, with Silent Lab, Garbotoxin, DDE. What a potential of attacking it has, right? When you get rid of that ability, you actually attack for 170 each turn. Now we can go to Mega Lopunny. Jumping below 60 damage, 60 more damage for each opponent's EX and GX in play. We are in the meta of those GX and EX, so definitely a lot of damage being here. With Puff Smash, extra energy attached to it. 200 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. What an attack! What a deck, especially with a fire type engine. What is left? Because we got like a few cards left, and Apom. I have an Apom right over here on my list with the draw 2 cards, but the bye-bye throw with 60 times damage. Discard up to 2 cards from your hand, and it does 60 damage for each card you discarded, which is 120 damage. But you can discard, well, the cards you want to discard, right? And of course we got a Silvally GX over here, which is a brand new Zoroark, you might say, and I've talked about this card a lot. You draw up to, so you have up to 5 cards in your hand. It's a great card to have on your bench. It's literally the brand new Zoroark GX. That's all I can say. Tier 1 easily. Now let's go to the trainers. And well, we can talk about the trainers. I'm gonna just talk about the ones I think are tier 1 materials, so you know, or I'm just gonna talk about them a little bit. So we got a Beast Knight, we got that's Pokemon Tool. This attack of Ultra Beast do 10 more damage. Not really the best attacker, but what is really cool is this thing. It's Chaotic Swell, and Chaotic Swell, it's a counter stadium, so if you have Chaotic Swell in play and your opponents play another stadium to discard it, they both get discarded. Really cool thing. Then we have Clay. Discard the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal an item card discarded this way, and put it into your hand. Another Dragonium, Erika, but here, there we go, a great catcher, a card that's going to be in every single deck, at least 2 copies of. It's custom catcher, but you discard 2 cards of your choosing, and you bring to the front line your opponent's GX or EX. Island Challenge Amulet probably gonna get banned, so I'm not gonna touch on that. There we go, we got a Lily's Clefairy Doll. So as I said, you know, about the stall potential, play this card, and at any time during your turn before you attack, you may put this card on the bottom of your deck, and your opponent can't take any prize card for that card. So they knock it out, but they can't take prize for it. So as we said, with Clefairy, stall deck material, with, you know, you put this all over again, and you just stall the game. You attack, you put this, it gets knocked out. Opponent doesn't take a prize card. You can actually even put a Clefairy with Shedinja if you want, if you're like that crazy of a person. Ends Resolve, another fantastic supporter that worked with the Reshizard. You discard 6 cards and you put the energy that was there to any of your Dragon type Pokemons. Like, I'm looking at those like more important, you know, Red and Blue. We all know Red and Blue. Fossil and Will, right? After playing this card, the first time you flip a coin, the effect, you can actually just set the coin flip, right? So you're setting up the coin flips as they come. Really cool. And well, that's the whole set. I mean, I feel like that is the whole set. I didn't went like through a lot of those supporters, and that's kind of, you know, because we all know them already, right? We all know what they do, what they don't do, so there was not really a huge point of going through every single one of them, and I hope we kind of put some light on the cards that were not that obvious from the set, and I hope you're gonna enjoy the set. So that is my review of the set. Thank you so much, Native Ryan, Muji, other guys. You know, don't forget to check Muji on Twitch. Really cool streamer, love him. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you guys on Twitch. Goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bye. Bye.